There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
Welcome to another great episode of the Program Guyz Positional Preview Podcast. Joined by Patrick Hertzberger, I am Mark Hall. We are here today to talk the receiver position for the Oklahoma Sooners in 2023. If you've heard our running back pod, you definitely know what the drill, what we're going to get into today. We're going to start with sort of a primer for what we had in the position last season, what we have going into next season, and sort of just final thoughts on anyone we miss and just putting a period on it, putting a blanket on it, finishing the thing up. If you're interested in checking out more of what we've got, please like and subscribe at Program Guyz Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Google Pods, Amazon, whatever it is. Follow us on Twitter at Program Guyz with a Z. Follow us on Instagram, Program Guyz with a Z. TikTok, PGs with a Z. All of it is Program Guyz with a Z. Guys, if you're looking for us, just search that. We're the only ones. Patrick, how we doing today, baby?
Good, man. Excited to talk some wide receiver. It's been interesting, especially the last couple of weeks with all of the quotes we've been receiving from the offensive staff and the head coach.
Oh, the head coach had some things to say about one of his guys. So we will absolutely get into that. I do want us to get cracking first with sort of what we're calling the look back, the program preview. It's 2022, we've got Marvin Mims, Drake Stoops, Jalil Farooq. Those are the top three leading receivers on the team. When I say 2022 receiving core, what do you think? What comes to mind for you?
Inconsistency. Not necessarily just them, but not being able to get them going consistently, whether it was their fault or not. But there was never a game where I was like, every receiver really played well.
I agree with that. And it feels like, hey, maybe Marvin does go off this game, but then the next game he's got 2 catches and 3 drops. And it definitely felt like starts and stops throughout the season with every single one of these guys. The one that really let us down, I think, is Theo Weiss, right?
What happened?
I mean, we know he returns from injury. He was hurt for the last part of the season before. I think it was an ACL, but he comes back and is just not the same player. And suddenly we're relying on a bunch of little dudes. And that's the interesting thing I found going back and doing a little bit of research is Jeff Lebby doesn't like to use these little dudes. It's something that we danced around a little bit throughout the season without knowing, maybe putting exactly the right kind of phrasing on it. But I looked back at his first season at Ole Miss, one of the best offensive seasons he's had as an offensive coordinator. And let me just read to you the sizes of the receivers that led that team. He had NFL second-round pick Jonathan Mingo at 6'2", 215. He had undrafted free agent Dallas Cowboy Dontario Drummond at 6'1", 215. And he had speedster Elijah Moore, second-round pick, only 5'9", 185, but faster than the day is long. And he just had a lot of size and a lot of talent, guys that you can trust to go up there and be bigger and more physical than the corner or the safety they're going against. And we saw several instances, I think, of DG trying to trust his guys to make those deep catches. And like you said, something doesn't connect.
Yeah, exactly. What's crazy, not only is the height of these receivers, is the weight of these Ole Miss receivers you just outlined. No one's over 210 pounds, or now, at least not last year, right?
Right. No one was. Theo Weiss might have been, but again, he was ineffective. Yeah. Like with that size did not come any kind of speed or even ability to separate.
Yeah.
And so we land in a place where you see Marvin Mims only running deep. Or you see, Jalil Farooq can always run deep. Marvin Mims can always run deep. But why are these the only routes they're running or the only ones we see Dillon Gabriel targeting them on?
Right. What was also crazy to me is I looked at some of our past superstars and the amount of touchdowns that they scored, because you have listed here that Marvin Mims only had 6 touchdowns, Jalil Farooq only had 5, Stoops 3. Oh, that's a very low amount of touchdowns. And when you look at our superstars in the past, Hollywood Brown had 10, CeeDee Lamb had 14. Sterling Shepard had 11. And D.D. Westbrook had 17. So to compare D.D. Westbrook to 6, I mean, that's crazy.
DD, am I doing this math right? DD had as many receiving touchdowns as all of our wide receivers combined. Because Gavin Freeman's only touchdown was on a run, and I'm counting 6, 3, 5, 3. Someone do the math for me, but I think DD had just as many.
I'm just fact checking myself because I saw it earlier. I was like, "There's no way he had 17." Yeah, he had 17.
But see, that's sort of the thing, and I believe that Marvin Mims is going to be a star. You know who knows wide receivers? It's Sean Payton in Denver, and he traded up to go get him. So I have all the faith in the world of Marvin Mims, but maybe he's not that number one X receiver on the outside. You can just toss the ball up to.
Right.
Like Caleb Williams could do that because Caleb Williams can do anything. But I'm not sure that was the perfect role for Marvin last year.
Right. Either way, the way you look at it, I mean, we were not getting the receiving production we've had in the past, at least from not one main guy. And I would argue our second and thirds were getting 4 or 5 touchdowns as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Drake Stoops, let's just run through some of these numbers. Marvin Mims played 13 games, 54 catches for 1,083 yards and 6 touchdowns. Those are personal highs for him. Drake Stoops, 39 catches, 393 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jalil Farooq, 37 catches, 466, 5 touchdowns. I would want all of my leading receivers. I would want... None of that is where it needs to be.
Yeah, it's not good at all. Yeah. If they all had 7, I'd feel happy.
It's great progress for Drake. It is. He went from 13, 16 catches to 39. He improved upon every aspect of his game as he's done every single season. And you know he's going to be a big factor next season. Jalil showed us a lot. You know, you get the ball in his hands and he's dynamic. But why aren't we getting the ball in his hands 9 times? Why is it always like 2 or 3 catches? Inconsistency is the word, Pat. I'm very glad you said it. Yep. Moving forward to 2023, it is a much, much different room. We can talk about all of these guys, but in the write-up, by the way, guys, didn't mention this earlier, there's a write-up attached to this. Maybe you're on the write-up page and you're viewing the video from there. Maybe you're on the YouTube page and you just now heard me bring it up. Please check for the link in the bio on the video. We would love if you gave us some feedback, read it, let us know what you think, agree, disagree, anything you have with the program. We love the commentary. Anyway, in the write-up, we've kind of broken these guys up for this year's receiving core into 3 groups. And I think it's instructive for us to try and break these guys into these groups to see who's competing with who for specific places on the field at given times. And there's going to be overlap. I'm sorry, it's not perfect. But our first set of players is the returning playmakers. That's Jalil Farooq, Drake Stoops, and Gavin Freeman. All of these guys are kind of what we've been talking about, sort of undersized, but very capable with the ball in their hand and a year in the offense. That's all of those are going to be crucial pieces to making sure every one of these guys gets on the field. You mentioned something that a certain head coach had to say earlier. Would you like to go into detail on that? Because I'm intrigued by this.
Me too. And it's what Brent Venables said about Gavin Freeman, saying he's the best wide receiver that they've seen. I think what he said in the spring camp, had the best spring camp out of any wide receiver.
Best receiver in the room coming out of the spring.
Yeah. And then Gavin Freeman himself said he gained a lot of weight with Schmitty and he's gotten a lot faster. And you kind of looked at that one huge catch I think he had against Kansas last year that he ran down the left side, long catch. Can he do that again and be quicker? Can he be a Marvin Mims? That's how they were talking about him. I don't know.
He's the 20 pounds thing, the being faster now.
Yeah.
I want to see it all. I mean, this is a player who had all of 3 catches last year. So I don't want us to all start blowing smoke just to blow smoke, but everything you hear is super promising. And what we saw last season was super promising. We just didn't see very much of it.
Right.
Aside from him in this group, I think Jalil and Drake Stoops are probably, I mean, these are the veterans, man. These are the two guys you have to be able to look to produce. Jalil Farooq cannot be dropping balls like he was last season.
No.
And we got to get him the ball and in opportunities that aren't just gadgets.
Yep. Agreed. We were doing way too much of that. There wasn't like a consistent route running, playmaking-esque to his game.
Right. Not enough. Not for the talent we know that Jalil Farooq has, because we would see it and then no catches, no catches, no catches, no catches, jet sweep.
Yeah.
Sick.
I don't know what I don't know what coach said this past week. If he's not getting the ball within first or second down, that's a problem. And it's true.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, I love to hear it. I don't like defensive coordinators hearing it, but I mean, I wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true.
But I mean, hey, at 6'1", 205, that's a dude who's built to catch the ball and make some plays with it after the catch as well.
Right.
And that's what I'm talking about here is these guys are playmakers. The guys who are going to get the ball, get some yak, get first downs they shouldn't get. I think all three of these guys could lead to or could carve out important roles for themselves.
Right. Can we talk about the Speedy newcomers next? Because I feel like relating them to the current playmakers is kind of even, right? Because if Thompson, for instance, Brendan Thompson, if he's the speed guy and Gavin is now the speed guy, I think there's a competition there of who is running downfield. Same with Andrell Anthony. I feel like those three guys are very similar route runners and players.
Well, and while we're there, add Jaquez Petaway to the mix. He's the only freshman that I see really getting into the mix this season, but I think he really might. And you're right to throw Gavin Freeman in there. Like I said, there's going to be some overlap with this, and all we've really seen Gavin Freeman do is run long deep routes or run screens or do a jet sweep. We haven't seen the route running prowess there. So maybe he does belong in this group, and that's where that competition is. The point with this group was who's going to take the top off of the defense, right? You can't have four of these guys on the field at one time, but you can have one or two, and who might be able to fill that role for you? You think it's Thompson?
I've got my money on Thompson. Yeah, I've got my money on Brendan Thompson just because he is that fast and he does have that year under his belt in the Big 12. I know Andrell Anthony may be a bit more experienced. I just have more faith in Brendan Thompson only because of the speed. I think Andrell Anthony will be a good asset as well. But if I had to choose, it'd be Brendan.
I think if I had to make a bet, I would be betting on Jaquez Petaway.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
You hear Lebby raving about him. He was a consensus top 100 recruit in the class of 2022. And he is just fast, and fluid. He can move in space without having to make weird cuts. He's just able to get in and out of cuts pretty quickly and pretty easily. He's who I'd love to see get some run there. But I'll tell you the interesting thing to me is Jaquez Petaway and Brendan Thompson are basically the same size. They're 5'10", 5'9", and 179, 180 pounds. Andrell Anthony is 6'1" and brings some good speed. I think between the three of them, I don't know who, it won't be everyone, but someone's going to break through in that group.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a safety knowing that Brendan Thompson and Andrell Anthony are both in the game.
Oh my gosh, you're trying to run a cover 3?
Yeah.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
Another group where we're going to have to see someone step up, because this is where I think we're going to bring back those Ole Miss comparisons, those NFL wide receiver comparisons, is Jeff Lebby needs a big body to go make plays and own one-on-one matchups for his offense to work. You want to score from far, here's how you do it. You get a big guy who can just post up, box out, and reach the ball at a tie point. We're talking 3 players for this role. We're talking Nick Anderson, Jaden Gibson, and 2022 transfer JJ Hester. When I say those names to you, who sticks out the most as the possible option?
The problem right now is none of them.
Yeah.
I think, and it's a big issue. Like we saw all get, I guess JJ Hester, not really, but we saw a bit of Nick and a bit of Jaden, and the opportunities weren't always there, like drop passes, right? I don't know. I guess give me JJ Hester just because he's more of the older, more experienced guy who's gotten playing time, maybe more playing time. I don't know. What about you?
I kind of think JJ takes a back seat on this one to one of the younger guys. These guys are 6'4" and 2 summers deep with Schmitty, and I just have to hope that one of them is the one that breaks through. Nick Anderson is the younger brother of Rodney Anderson. Maybe he's got some of that dog in him. Yeah. We get one insane season out of him. But Jaden Gibson looked like a freak last year. Right. Certainly. Between, I hope, the two of them, we see just pterodactyl catches. We see insane Randy Moss plays because they have the athleticism to do it. Can Emmett Jones get him there?
Right. Because it just needs to click. It just needs to be I get it now. I'm confident. I've got it. That's what we're looking to see here. It's not like that they don't have the athletic capability to do it. It's just a matter of putting them in the right place, right time, good play calling, and them having the confidence. And I think they have the ability to do it.
These guys don't have to play receiver the way that Marvin Mims has to play receiver or Drake Stoops has to play receiver. They have to play receiver the way you have to play volleyball, Pat. You're just tall. Yeah, you can, well, I mean, not that, okay, not that's it, but
no, I'm an incredible volleyball player about it.
There you go. It's an overbearing physical attribute about these guys is that they're just different sized human beings than the people that they're going to be lining up against. All of them are 6'4" or higher. All of them are nearly 200 pounds. Big bodies, larger than the corners they're going to be playing against. We've got to see someone break out in that room more than any of the others because we have proven commodities in the other rooms. This is a spot where if you think Marvin Mims was miscast last year or Jalil Farooq was miscast last year, having one of these guys break through is how everyone falls into place. You have to respect a giant.
Yeah. And where do you think that these guys can help out most? Because last year, I thought we were lagging third down receivers. I knew you could get the ball to Drake Stoops, but also the defense knew it. And Drake consistently made that catch. But there wasn't a big guy out there that we would rely on the third down. And that is hopefully where these guys can step up, along with being close to the end zone. 10 yards away from the end zone, who can catch it in the back of the end zone? That wasn't an option really last year either.
Yeah, we were looking to Braden Willis for that last year. We'd split him out and try to run these plays. And Braden Willis was a great athlete. He wasn't the most natural receiver. It was a little bit robotic.
Yeah.
These guys are receivers. They've been receivers for their entire lives. Braden Willis played quarterback in high school, different kind of movement, different kind of functionality. To answer your question, I think they should be running go routes, corners, and post routes every single play. And if they're in one-on-one coverage at any time, the ball should be thrown up. That's how you take advantage of these guys. 11 targets, I don't care. Because you take the top off of the defense that way, and that's how Jalil Farooq turns a 12-yard curl into a 40-yard return or a 40-yard reception.
Yeah, right. Agreed.
I think it's taking the top off the defense and having a speedster on the other side to do the same thing. It gets dangerous when the pieces come together right.
Yeah. Just in general question, if we're there, are we there yet?
We're about to be there. Do you want to do the rest of the guys first or this?
We can do the rest of the guys first. Let's do the rest of the guys first.
All right. Let's do the rest of the guys first. So the absolute most fun name on the list is DJ Graham. He was a high school receiver, shifted to defensive back for the last regime, who clearly knew what they were doing at defensive back, and approached Coach Venables this past season about switching back to offense. I haven't heard anything about DJ Graham, the receiver, since the spring. So I got high hopes, but they're not like things I'm counting on here.
It's weird because I don't feel like you make the switch unless you think he's going to be successful and is successful. Like, has been successful enough to not go back.
Well, I guess it's like Brent Venables doesn't see a corner there anyway. Yeah. We've brought in 18 corners. So if the kid's on scholarship and you don't want to take it away, I guess let him go run some routes might be what they're saying. But I hope he's able to do something, man.
Me too. I think we'll see that right away. Like, if he's not getting in like the first quarter of Arkansas State, if he's not in for a couple plays, I don't know.
It's probably going to be more of a garbage time thing. And then if he turns that into crazy production, maybe he earns a spot. But
right.
We've got a lot of bodies, man. We got a lot of bodies. Adding to the homie DJ Graham, we've got LV Bunkley Shelton, Arizona State transfer last season. He had a few catches, didn't really do anything special, wasn't able to break through. He saw some more playing time throughout the season, but if you can't turn that into production, we got a lot of guys who might.
Yeah, I agree. Out of any of these rest of the guys we're going to mention here, I have the most faith in Bunkley Shelton to really get some playing time. Yeah.
And then we got just other dudes. I want to make sure we hit them because they're important members of the team. We've got Major Melson, redshirt junior, Brandon Harper, freshman, Trey Brown, freshman, Patrick Cromer, freshman, and Eli Merck, freshman. I'm not sure we're going to see these guys on the field very much past maybe special teams play, but they're working every day in practice. They're a part of that team. Every team needs players like them. So lots of respect to those guys. That's the rest of the guys. We've now hit every receiver on the roster. Pat, what you got?
Do you think multiple receivers can go for over 1,000 yards this year? Are you expecting it? Even?
No.
Not expecting
Marvin Mims,
do you think it can happen, though?
It can happen, but I think it's going to have to go off. I mean, I mentioned it in my bold predictions was that we would have multiple receivers go for 3,000. I see a world where it happens, but realistically, the run is going to be a heavy part of the offense. And I mean, no one here is as good as Marvin Mims. And he barely broke 1,000 yards last season.
Right.
So I think the ball is going to be spread too thin among all these guys, and that might be a good thing for the offense, but it means no one breaks that level. What about you?
Right. I don't think so either. I might even be hesitant to say that anyone does. Yeah. I could see it be more spreading out, especially not just with receiving yards, but touchdowns, passes, all of it.
If anyone does, I think it has to be Jalil. He's him and Drake seem to have the most established positions, just as the veterans in the room. And those guys are going to get the opportunities from week 1 to week national championship. Whereas it could take Jaden Gibson until week 6 to even hit the field, really. We just don't know how that shakes out.
Yeah, agreed. How do you think Emmett Jones is going to impact us from last year to this year? What do you think that he could have changed here for these guys?
Man, I'm really glad you asked this question. The thing that sticks to me is you look at last year's receiving core, and only 4 players had double-digit catches all season long. We only played 4 receivers all season long. Every single play was some variation of Mims, Stoops, Farooq, Weiss, and Braden Willis, and some running back. Let's get some rotation in there. Let's let these guys freshen up a bit and get the playing reps that you need to see practice development turn into real on-field production. I'm thinking 8 guys should be having double-digit catches this season. I listed 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 guys. There you go.
That's
in the write-up. And I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of them broke 10 catches this year. Maybe JJ Hester a little.
Yeah.
But just a lot of talent, and we don't know how it shakes out yet. So I don't want to put a number on any one of them, but Jalil definitely leads the team in receiving, and I'd love to see a Nick Anderson or Jaden Gibson take the second place there. That's the kind of progress you want to see.
Agreed. Similar question to yesterday. Do you think there's a dark horse who could maybe become the second number 2 receiver? Like, who's that guy here?
I can't say Gavin Freeman because BV already said he is the guy. So
right,
I won't do that.
Dark horse. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna go back to Petaway. The guy can move unlike the rest of these guys can move, and all it's gonna take is a few shots. Because even if you're a freshman and therefore have to work harder to get yourself on the field, if he does get on the field, I see fast production from him.
Yeah.
Who would you go with? Because it's a weird group. What's an X factor in this group?
Gosh, I don't know. I guess give me Brennan Thompson. All of a sudden, just maybe he has the breakout he needs.
That's your guy, man.
Yeah, it's my guy.
With
transfer from
with
Texas,
good reason,
I'd love
man.
to see it. Yeah.
10-2-2 in the 100-yard dash in high school. He's outrunning corners. He's outrunning safeties. We're not in the SEC yet.
If the long ball is working for DG, which we'll get into the quarterbacks, but that's your best friend
into
right
the quarterback pod.
Yeah, tune in.
Pat, just about ready to wrap it up, man. Any final thoughts on the 2023 Oklahoma Sooners receiving core as we head into week 1 against Arkansas State?
Gosh, actually having this conversation made me feel worse about the receiving core, which I don't like. Inconsistency last year, hopefully just consistency this year. I think we need them just to be high average. Maybe Jalil breaks out, but everyone just got to be high average and play consistently, and our defense will definitely be able to save us if that's the case.
I totally agree with that. I hope everyone finds their role. And that's what's going to help a lot, is just knowing when I go onto the field, I need to be a ball winner. I need to be finding the first down. I need to be an outlet for Dylan Gabriel. Everyone understanding what they need to be for this team is going to lead to a lot better consistency than we saw from the 2022 version of these guys. I really believe that.
Agreed.
And with that, we will be wrapping up the wide receiver position on the Program Guys Positional Preview Podcast. If you like what you're hearing, please let us know. Like and subscribe. Share it with a buddy. You have friends that like OU football? Send them our way. Send them to the program. We are always accepting newcomers. You can always like and subscribe here on YouTube, on Spotify, Google, Amazon, everywhere you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, at Program Guys with a Z, Facebook, the Program Guys Podcast, something like that. Basically, Google Program Guys with a Z and you will find us. I've been joined today by the big guy, Patrick Hertzberger. Patrick, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being